Hey, what's going on? This is Jason, and I'm here again to help clear up some things about functional health and movement science that a lot of people have questions with. And today we're going to go over this term. It's called restorative exercise. So, what the heck is that? Excuse me. Well, restorative exercise actually starts off with spinal cord injury. Restorative exercise was a term particularly used to describe restoring function for somebody who lost function due to a paralysis event, meaning they were a quadriplegic or a paraplegic, and we're trying to restore the function to their body so that they can eventually get to walk again and perform just like they would have prior to the injury. This is a very difficult and long process. But what we figured out is that restorative exercise is also something that everybody in today's society needs, specifically people that have chronic health conditions or chronic pain. So they say, well, wait a minute, isn't that physical therapy? So it is like physical therapy. It's like physical therapy, but it's a different part of the functional development range. When I was working in spinal cord injury, we would ask them, well, why don't you just go to a physical therapist rather than a kinesiologist, which is what we were. And what time and time again, they said, well, they just don't do what you guys are doing. They're not trying to get us function back. And we said, oh, okay, that's different. So we started analyzing it and saying, well, wait a minute, what does a PT do versus what we are doing? And this is what we ended up with, was that repair was a zone of responsibility for the PT, but it doesn't go very far. It's like in this red zone. If you're really, really hurt or really, really sick, you're in this red zone. You're disabled a bit, but it doesn't lead you all the way through this process into, we might call this zone over here the functional zone, where, you're green, right? And then everything in the blue and the purple is like hyper functional. And this is where strength and conditioning and running really hard and competition is over here, all that kind of stuff. So the restorative zone is bringing somebody from here all the way into that green zone, right? So that's what we want. So in a way, we think of repair kind of like if you are driving on bald tires and you get a pop tire, what do you need to do? Well, the physical therapist will go in and change your tire, right? But why did the bald tires happen in the first place? Well, it might have been because of the frame was off or because your steering was off. And that's where the kinesiologist is going to come, and they're going to focus on those other aspects to make sure that the tires don't go bald prematurely again, right? And so it's like PT, but we focus on balance instead of injury. We focus on integration instead of isolated parts of the body. And we focus on holistic functional performance for the whole body rather than simple joint repair. That doesn't mean the PT doesn't have a place. It definitely does. It is definitely amazing. But we need to really distinguish where PT belongs versus what your restorative professionals do. All right. So we've distinguished restorative exercise from PT. PT does do restorative exercise, but they do it primarily within the scope of repair, not restore. So then we go to fitness. What? Well, wait a minute. Isn't that like fitness? Well, it's like fitness, but restorative exercise is functional. It's a part of the functional spectrum, as we described. It is looking to keep your body performing without chronic pain and other chronic health conditions for a lifetime. Fitness is focused on more of a bodybuilding aesthetic, and an extension of as being an extension of the beauty industry. This is still where the emphasis is. It's not a bad thing. It's just we have to understand where the emphasis really is. It's focused on, restorative exercise is focused on a functional range that is with comparison to health biomarkers, which are very similar as your insurance company might give you, or your primary care physician might have you take, or even, some physical therapists might have you do as well for mobility and stuff like that. But ours are more extensive, by the way. Where fitness is still focused on body fat and muscle mass primarily. Why? Because those are what give the aesthetic outcome. By the way, this doesn't mean that restorative exercise can't also give you great aesthetics. It just means that they're on the back end instead of on the front end of the strategies. And so a portion of the functional range of physical capability, which is kind of what we were describing in our little rainbow spectrum of there before is where restorative exercise is. But fitness is a very broad concept with that focus on aesthetics that may or may not have any focus on the functional range of capability at all. They're focused on big muscles, not functional muscles. And so we just have to understand that sort of thing. With chiropractic, restorative exercise is absolutely complementary to chiropractic, as we're looking for a lot of the same results. We're looking for the results from posture. We're looking for better results from having a better joint position, all that kind of stuff. Absolutely. But I would caution against using a chiropractor for being the strategist there, because they simply don't have their 10,000 hours for the most part in understanding the coordinated muscular patterns that a kinesiologist uses. And then their system doesn't have time to properly perform manual techniques and full active strategies that kinesiologists and functional movement specialists use, as opposed to, where they're adjusting the spine and the skeletal system. Our 10,000 hours are in, adjusting the muscular system and teaching the active strategies to you for that. Then strength and conditioning. Strength and conditioning is a wonderful art. Matter of fact, I think restorative exercise comes out of strength and conditioning, but strength and conditioning really does focus on, this performance end of things, being competitive and performing better, whereas restoration, focuses on low level of performances that are more qualitative than quantitative. And so we focus on frequency and being able to focus on the quality of how our body is moving rather than the intensity and volume that strength and conditioning is focused on creating a large quality of ability for the human body. And again, if you're in a strength and conditioning program, like in college or something like that, your restorative specialist is called an athletic trainer. The athletic trainers take care of this zone. The strength and conditioning coaches take care of this zone. And there's a lot of overlap in this zone right in the middle that they both help take care of. And so if you're in a college or a professional program or even high school, a lot of times they'll have that sort of Venn diagram. But unfortunately, that's just missing once you get out of the academics and competitive training, competitive performance training, systems. So our takeaway is to use restorative exercise strategies reactively. If you have chronic pain or chronic health conditions, use them proactively for a strong qualitative base, for stronger physical pursuits and maintenance. And then also, look for kinesiologists, exercise physiologists, cash-based PTs, athletic trainers. These will all have a very good, base of understanding of the concepts to be able to deliver these out to you. So thank you very much. Go ahead and join the Root Health Institute to know more about this. It's right down below, link below. It's free. Do it, please, because I care for your health, and it will be wonderful. Thank you.